Hi there, it's so nice to finally meet you. It's Celia and Alan, isn't it? Ollie loves you two very much. He's always talking about you, you know. I'm Sabrina, Ollie's girlfriend. Oh, and you must be his younger brother, Theo, right? I've heard so much about you as well. Ollie's always saying that you guys have been really close ever since you were little.
Hi, Sabrina. Yes, that's right. It's I, the famous Theo, in the flesh. May I say, you're even prettier in person than the photos Ollie showed us. Didn't you guys meet in college whilst you were doing volunteer work? It's crazy how we're only just getting around to meeting you now. You guys must have been dating for quite a few years now.
I knew you'd be just the right girl for my son when I heard what a charitable heart you have. I heard that you're still involved in a lot of volunteer work now, too. That must be really hard to keep up with on top of your work. Ollie always made you sound like such a kind, hard-working girl, and now I can see you're just as lovely and well-mannered as I had imagined you'd be. By the way, where are your parents? Did you not come together? No, we didn't. They're not quite here yet. I just texted my mom and she said that they'll be arriving in around 10 minutes. Shall we head on in and wait for them inside the restaurant?
Yeah, you guys go ahead and sit down. I'll go out and meet your parents when they arrive, Sabrina. Oh gosh. Mom, look at that gross-looking car over there. That model must be from at least 25 years ago. It's practically vintage.
Well, I certainly wouldn't be as nice to call it vintage. It's clearly nothing but a piece of junk. I hope we haven't reached the stage where we call any piece of scrap metal vintage just because it's a bit old. Look how beat up it is. I'd be so embarrassed if I showed up at a fancy restaurant like this driving a car like that. I'm surprised the people driving that car can even afford to eat here. They should have had some consideration for the restaurant's image before they parked that eyesore in front of it. Don't you agree, Sabrina? This is a little awkward. Sabrina, hi. We're here. Oh, Mom and Dad, we were waiting for you.
Oh, hi there. You must be Ollie's parents. Celia and Alan, right? I'm Tony, Sabrina's dad, and this is my wife, Diane. Oh, so sorry to have kept you waiting. You should have just gone inside and sat down instead of waiting outside for us. You must be cold standing out here in your fancy dinner dress. Oh, no. Oh, it's fine. You didn't keep us waiting at all. We also just arrived a few minutes ago.
Well, I guess we should head on inside now, then. Well, it's so nice to finally meet you all. We've heard good things about your lovely family.
Yes, it really is criminal that this is our first time meeting, when our kids have been together for so long already.
Ah, yes, it is criminal. By the way, I know we've only just met, and I don't want to come across as rude or anything, but I'm the type to get quite curious about people's hobbies and interests. I was just wondering if you were particularly into, vintage stuff, Tony?
Mom, you can't just say that right off the bat.
Vintage stuff? I'm sorry, I'm not quite sure what you're talking about here. Well, what else could I be referring to? I'm talking about the car you came here in. It's obvious that it's more than 25 years old. You must get carsick a lot riding around in that car, Diane. It doesn't look at all comfortable. Is collecting old scraps of vintage cars your hobby or something, Tony? I understand that some people prefer old stuff, but I think that a car from the early 2000s belongs in the early 2000s, don't you agree? Oh, wait, don't tell me. It's from the 90s. If that's the case, that would make it almost as old as Ollie and Sabrina here. These days, young people care so much about keeping up appearances, you know. Aren't you afraid of getting judged for driving around in a car like that? I must say you looked quite the picture getting out of that car all dressed up to go out for dinner. The contrast was quite laughable.
That's enough now, Celia. I'm sure Tony just has very particular tastes, that's all. Ugh, Mom, you're so embarrassing. Even if that's your opinion, you should keep it to yourself in front of Sabrina's parents, don't you think? Yes, Mom, let's stop talking about this now and just focus on enjoying our dinner, okay?
Well, I don't know why you're all getting so snappy at me. I didn't say anything wrong, did I? It's true that people are going to point and stare when they see someone driving around in a car like that. Just owning such an old, beat-up car is one thing, but showing up at a nice restaurant in it is a bit much, don't you think? People will be commenting on the disparity between your taste in food and your taste in cars. They'll say you put all of your energy into choosing where to eat and zero energy into your image. Celia, don't you think you're being a little harsh here? Yes. Don't you think you've gone a bit too far, considering that we only just met?
Honey, calm down. It's okay. I'm not mad and I'm not offended. Celia is entitled to her opinion. I guess I never really put much thought into what other people might think about my car.
But how could you not, when people must be giving you odd looks all the time because of it? Don't you know that you can't get anywhere in life without taking other people's opinions into account? How could you show up at your first meeting with your potential future in-laws in a car like that? You clearly don't have any consideration for us and how we might feel about it either. Even if that's the only car you have, surely it would be better to save face and borrow a nicer car off some neighbors, or even just walk here or get the bus instead of embarrassing yourselves and us by pulling up in that thing. Don't you agree, Ollie?
Mom, please stop. Yes, Celia, no matter how you feel about it, this is no way to be talking to people who we're meeting for the first time.
Well, that's just how I feel. I can't help it. If Sabrina were my daughter, I would be thinking of some way to save face for her sake, at least. Oh, dear, Sabrina, why the long face? I don't know why you're getting upset. I really haven't said anything wrong. I had no idea that there was such an obvious wealth disparity between our two families. If I had known you came from such a humble background, I would have made sure that Ollie nipped your little relationship in the bud years ago. I should have made more effort to make sure he was dating someone who was up to standard. I've been such a terrible mother. With all due respect, Celia, I think you've gone way too far. After listening to you prattle on, it's clear that you would most likely be a terrible mother-in-law to Sabrina. You obviously care more about appearances than about other people's feelings, and I, for one, do not want my daughter to be around that kind of energy. And you two boys, are you just going to sit there and let your mother talk to us like that? It's clear that you've both been raised to cling on to her apron strings.
Honey, there is nothing to be gained from retaliating like that. A reaction is probably exactly what she wants from us. Haven't we come here today because Sabrina and Ollie are thinking about getting married and would like us all to get to know each other better? As their parents, we really shouldn't be behaving like this at the dinner table, don't you think? Celia, how about we put our personal feelings aside and just focus on our kids and their relationship?
Marriage? Oh, there's no way that I'm going to let things get that far. How can you even have the audacity to think that your daughter is worthy of marrying my son after you showed up in such an embarrassing piece of junk? All the ladies in the neighborhood are going to be asking me how finally meeting with Ollie's girlfriend's family was. How am I supposed to tell them the truth? That Ollie's girlfriend comes from a family that can't afford to drive anything better than an old banger that had probably seen better days 15 years ago? I couldn't possibly tell them that, could I? I would die of embarrassment.
Dad, why don't you do anything to stop her? She is so embarrassing. Well, to be honest, I can't really say I disagree with her. I think maybe it's time you came to your senses and realized that maybe she isn't the girl for you. Yeah, I knew you were into doing charity work, Ollie, but I had no idea that your girlfriend was a charity case as well.
No mother would want to see their precious son wasted on a girl who comes from nothing. When I heard they were also into volunteering, I thought you must be such a lovely, gentle, well-bred girl, but turns out that I was wrong. You're just a shameless little poor girl after all. Didn't you think it was a bit brazen of you to try and reach so far above your station? I think that there's been some kind of a misunderstanding here. My dad is the frugal type and really doesn't like to show off material possessions. But still, you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. My dad really hates talking about work and bragging about the fact that he runs a company, so he tries not to appear flashy on the surface. I don't know why you're losing your temper with me. Are you insinuating that we're materialistic and superficial then? I don't know how you have the confidence to talk back to me when it's so obvious that you're nothing in comparison to us. And everyone seems to be running a business these days. Your dad isn't anything special. People seem to think they have bragging rights when they say that they have their own business. But the truth is, it's nothing impressive at all. It's people like you that are making companies that are actually reputable look bad because you think you can brag about renting a little office with 10 or so employees and call it a business. I can't believe what I'm hearing. Anyone can run a business? Nothing in comparison to us? Bragging rights? Do you really think I'm gonna just sit here and let you talk to me like that? Even if we were the poorest family in the country, there's no reason why we would have to take such abuse from you.
Well, to be honest, I think my wife has spoken nothing but the truth today. I really do think that you should have put some more effort into keeping up appearances. It is your first time meeting the people who could be your future in-laws after all. If we are all going to be one big family one day, surely you should have taken a little bit more care to make a good first impression. In fact, I won't even ask for a good first impression. I'd just like to ask that you don't blatantly embarrass us like this. Oh, well, we must have been very embarrassing indeed. Keeping up appearances may be important, but surely what matters more than that is a person's inner character. If we're really going to talk about appearances, why aren't we bringing your son into this? I heard from Sabrina that he's never been able to hold down a job and keeps changing companies every few months, refusing to put in any effort if he doesn't like the environment and quitting at the first sign of a challenge. Aren't you technically unemployed right now, young man? If that's true, I don't know why your mother thinks she has the right to be talking down to us like this. Even though you seem to be lacking in capability, we were willing to turn a blind eye to that if our daughter was happy to be with you. That's because for us, the most important thing is for our daughter to be with the person she loves. However, after coming here today and seeing what nasty, prejudiced people your parents are, I've finally come to my senses and I've realized I shouldn't let my daughter throw away her life on you and your toxic family. I'm glad that we met before you two decided to make the engagement official. I would have hated to see my daughter get any further involved with such awful people. I really don't appreciate you insulting my capabilities, Tony. I may be technically unemployed, but I've actually made it to the final interview stage for a very reputable company. And I have the confidence that I can pass. I really feel like this is a role for me. I've been wasting my potential in the other companies that weren't really providing me with the right environment for me to thrive, and I just haven't found my place yet. There were good reasons for me leaving each of my previous jobs, I'll have you know. I'm not the sort of guy who would just quit for no reason. It's not at all because I'm lacking in capabilities. Sabrina already knows all about my situation and has understood and supported me through all my career-related decisions. She also accepted that I was just waiting for the right role to come along. She always agreed with me that I shouldn't settle for something mediocre if I knew there was something better out there for me.
That's right, Dad. I've never once been disappointed with him for constantly changing jobs, and I appreciate that he has his reasons. He's still the person I want to be with, regardless of what you may think about his career prospects, so I'd really appreciate it if you didn't bring that up here. I understand that you care about him a lot, Sabrina, but I can't believe that you would turn around and start insulting my son. Of course he was never going to be wasting his time at third-rate companies for long. No parent would let their child languish in mediocrity when it's so clear that they're cut out for great things. The reason that he's been moving jobs frequently was in order to accumulate knowledge and experience in various different environments in order to work in one of the top companies in the country. I don't mean to brag, but the place that he's in the process of interviewing with right now is actually the top electronics company in the whole country.
Oh, really? And what company might that be?
Oh, I'm sure I don't even need to say the name for you to know where I'm talking about. As soon as he's secured a place in that company, girls are going to be lining up for a chance to be with him. My son really is the full package. He's good-looking, he comes from a good background, he has a great personality, and now he's going to work for the top electronics company in the country. It really will be the cherry on top. I'm sure he'll forget all about the likes of your daughter once he's achieved his success. It's one of those companies that's known by everyone in the whole world, not just within the country, you know. Again, I'm sure I don't need to tell you which company it is, as their reputation precedes them. He still has to pass the final interview round, but at this stage you could basically say the job is as good as his. The chairman of the company himself will be interviewing him, you know. So, Sabrina, you should know that you'll never be on his level, and you should probably just bow out gracefully now to save yourself from further embarrassment. You're just going to be dragging him down.
Yeah, well, when you start working in that company, you'll have loads of opportunities to meet girls who come from better backgrounds. You'll be brushing shoulders with the real elites out there, girls who have great backgrounds and great career prospects. I'm sorry, Sabrina, but there's no way that you could compete with that. I'm sure that those girls are all going to be fighting over my brother as soon as they set eyes on him, so he's going to have plenty of options to choose from. Why then should he have to settle for you just because you've been dating for a few years? He doesn't owe you anything at the end of the day, does he? I don't know if there was any need to say all of that, but I will say that I wouldn't have allowed my son to keep dating your daughter if I had known that your family had such a disreputable background. I don't want to be connected with people like you and potentially ruin my son's prospects. People should only mix with people of the same social class as them, don't you agree? And it is obvious that your family and mine are on two completely different levels. He doesn't need her clinging on to him and dragging him down just when he's finally reached the most important moment of his career. He was only doing that volunteering because it would look good on his resume anyway. Don't tell me that you were actually doing volunteering out of the kindness of your heart, Sabrina. That doesn't get you anywhere, you know? You should focus on improving yourself before you worry about others, and you clearly haven't done that at all. We need to be thinking clearly about our son's future here, and I am definitely of the opinion that he will be able to meet someone else better suited to him. Don't you agree?
I can't believe these people. Sabrina, I'm sure you don't want any more to do with this crazy family. Imagine if you did marry him. You would endure all sorts of mistreatment, I have no doubt. I don't know why they think they can just hurl all this abuse at you when they don't know the half of what you're capable of.
Wait a second, Mom. I just need to clear something up. Ollie, do you really agree with what your dad said about volunteering? The whole basis of our relationship is that we bonded during those volunteering activities. I'm sure you don't agree with him. Seeing you work so earnestly on the volunteering projects is what made me fall for you in the first place. My first impression of you was that you were really selfless and considerate of others, and I still believe that to be the truth about you up until today. I thought we promised each other that we would never judge each other and we would love and support each other regardless of our shortcomings. We never bothered about family background or career prospects or anything like that. You always agreed with me that as long as we had each other, that was enough. Has your opinion really changed after a few judgmental words from your parents and brother?
I mean, I guess we did say that, but to be honest, I had no idea that your parents were this poor. I wish I could have met them earlier so I didn't have to waste all these years on our relationship when I could have been looking for something better. Yeah, you have to think practically. What good is going to come out of marrying a girl like her? As Mom said, as soon as you pass that interview, girls who are way prettier, way smarter, and way richer than Sabrina are going to be flocking around you like bees to honey. And it's also not just about the girl, it's about her parents too. Who wants to marry a girl whose parents can't help you out in a pinch? You need to marry into a reliable family with well-to-do, high-earning parents. If I were you, I would get rid of her right now and start looking for a new girlfriend as soon as you get admitted into your new company. You are such an idiot for wasting all this time on her.
Ollie, do you really have nothing to say to that? I know that they're your family, but are you really going to let them get away with this?
Sabrina, sweetheart, don't even bother trying to get through to him. He's obviously made up his mind already. You're gonna have to wake up and realize that he isn't gonna fight for you.
Yes, thank you, Tony. Please do tell your daughter to wake up from her delusion that she was ever good enough for my son. Don't even bother trying to say anything else in an attempt to change his mind because he's clearly, finally realized what's best for him going forward. We are definitely against these two ever getting engaged, so let's just end things here now, shall we? I don't have anything left to say to the likes of you. Clearly, you're the ones who needed help from the charity workers. I have no idea why you felt the need to volunteer when you must have been worse off than most of the people that you were helping. If you hadn't joined the volunteering group at your college, then you would never have lured my son into a false sense of security, that you might be on the same level as him financially. You should have focused on getting a job and earning some more money for your impoverished parents instead of wasting my son's time by showing up at his volunteering group and seducing him. It really is a blessing that we had this meeting now and not further down the line when you two were more invested in the idea of having a wedding. Just thinking about my poor son being trapped in a marriage with a woman like you really makes me shiver. I really don't know how a girl with barely a penny to her name could have thought she could get away with leeching off of my son for the rest of her life. You should just be grateful for everything he's done for you over the years and just think of it as an extension of his volunteer work. Did you ever pay a single penny toward any of your dates with him? I bet you didn't. I bet my poor son was always paying for everything. I'm sure you never even offered to go Dutch with him. You're not one of these girls who is pretty enough to be let off the hook for everything, you know. Don't go thinking that he'd stay with you because of your good looks despite everything else that's wrong with you. Because even your face is third-rate in comparison to him. You really have absolutely nothing to bring to the table, do you? My poor naive boy has been deceived all this time. People will start judging you two as parents, you know. They'll say that you tried to sell your daughter to the highest bidder. Anyway, I think we're done here. Ollie, surely you can see that I'm talking sense here, and there's no need to carry on being involved with this girl and her shabby family.
I wonder if you'd be able to fully take responsibility for all those things you just said, because I really don't think that you will. Do you think that just because we just sat here and listened to your venomous attack, we're admitting that everything you said was true and are hanging our heads in shame? That is definitely not the case, I can assure you. You really should think before you speak, you know, because your words might just come back to bite you when you least expect it. I guarantee you that you're going to regret saying every last little thing you said to us today.
I really don't know what you're talking about. All my wife has said today are fundamental truths about the huge wealth disparity between our two families. I understand that you'd say anything to try and make yourself look better, because your pride must be quite hurt after having to reflect on the sad truth about your situation in front of your daughter like this. However, I really don't see any reason why my wife should regret anything she said today. She should be pleased with herself for letting the three of you know your place.
All right, I understand where I stand with you all now. Alan, Celia, I had no idea that you two had these kinds of prejudiced views, but I guess it's a relief to have found out sooner rather than later. And as for you, Ollie, I really didn't know that I meant so little to you, that a few harsh words from Mommy could make you do a complete 180 on me and rethink our entire relationship. I guess everything your parents said today was right. I really was thinking about getting married to someone who is clearly on a completely different level to me, and that was my mistake.
Sabrina, I'm so sorry.
Don't even bother saying sorry.
Sorry to interrupt, but is it okay if I leave now? I have a blind date with a rich older woman that my friend set me up with. Apparently, she is stunning. I'm sure you're really gonna like her, Mom.
Oh, that sounds great, Theo. I am so happy for you. You'd better get going then. You don't want to keep her waiting. I suppose there's really no reason for us all to be wasting our time here when we're not going to have any kind of relationship with each other after today.
She's right. We should probably all head home now. After all, we've all clearly decided that there's no need for us to ever see each other again. Let's not waste any more of each other's time. My wife and I also have another matter to attend to, so we'll be leaving now. Let's just say our goodbyes and get out of here.
I don't think there's really any point in bothering with pleasantries like goodbyes, do you? Everyone has had a chance to say everything they needed to say, so I don't think there's any need for us to drag it out any longer. We'll cover the bill, by the way. I don't suppose the likes of you have ever had such expensive food in your lives. And I hope that your car doesn't break down on the way home, by the way. Although, to be honest, I don't even think it's going to make it out of the parking lot. I'm sure you'll have enough to worry about with the inevitable repair costs you'll have to cover without having to foot this bill. You clearly can't afford as well. There's still a lot of food left, so how about the three of you stay here and finish everything? After all, you never know when you're next going to be able to have this kind of luxury dining experience. We would really appreciate it if Sabrina would be willing to completely cut ties with Ollie. I don't want to hear about her calling and texting him, begging to give her another chance, okay? I really hope that this is the last time the two of them ever lay eyes on each other. And without further ado, I will get going now.
I'm sorry that things turned out like this, Sabrina, but surely after listening to what my mom said tonight, you can see that we're not a good match for each other. We thought about getting married without taking a lot of things into consideration, and that was probably a little naive and premature of us. It's not too late for us both to find someone else, so it's for the best to end things right now, I think. I never really thought about it, but I guess I just always assumed that your parents were in a similar financial situation to mine. Faced with the reality of marriage, I've come to realize that it's way more than just two people having feelings for each other. We're not kids anymore, and we shouldn't be hanging on to the romanticized idea that just having each other is enough to get by. In reality, when you marry someone, you marry their family as well. And if the two families are not well matched, then there's no future for that relationship. I'm sure you've realized all these things as well after this conversation. Anyway, I'm gonna go now too. Bye, Sabrina.
Would you just look at that? If you go around being rude to people like that, you reap what you sow. That whole family has it coming, but especially you, Ollie, and your disgustingly ill-mannered mother.
Don't even waste your breath talking to them anymore. Oh, come on, Sabrina, let's go home.
I just can't believe that you could do this to me, Ollie. I have just one thing to say to you before you go. You are going to live to regret this. But when you realize how big of a mistake you've made and you start to regret everything that happened today, I won't be giving you another chance.
Okay. I really don't think I will, but okay. Honey Bunny, there's something I wanted to get from the department store for ages, and I was wondering if you would like to buy it for me. Today is officially our 1-month anniversary since we started dating. Oh, wouldn't it be romantic to celebrate it with a gift?
You want another gift already? You're just using our 1-month anniversary as an excuse, aren't you? Anyway, I'll let you off the hook because you're so cute.
Emilia, is that you?
Sabrina, it's really you. It's been ages. We used to be inseparable, but we've barely hung out since you started dating that guy. Our other friends all felt the same. They felt kind of frozen out by you. What have you been doing all this time? Is this guy really so great that he can replace your oldest friend?
I guess I haven't been the best friend over the past few years, have I? I kept thinking about reaching out to you, but I was so worried that you'd be mad at me that I ended up stopping myself.
I could never be mad at you for too long. We've been through so much together. It upsets me more than you would think that I would hold a grudge against you.
Thanks for being so understanding, Ems. I really could always count on you no matter what. I promise I won't be distant anymore, so let's go and get a coffee or something when you're free and have a proper catch-up. Oh, by the way, if you don't mind me asking, how do you know this person here? Are you guys on a date right now?
Amelia Honeybunny, we should really get going, you know?
Yeah, in a minute, sweetie. Can't you see I'm catching up with an old friend? Oh, by the way, Sabrina, this is my new boyfriend, Theo. We got introduced to each other by a mutual friend, and he was just so cute that I just had to make him mine. I've been single for so long now, and I was really jealous of your relationship, to be honest, so I'm so happy to have finally found someone.
Oh, I see. Congratulations. By the way, Ems.
My stomach hurts so bad all of a sudden. I think I need to urgently go to the bathroom. Let's hurry up and head on inside.
I'm so sorry, Sabrina. He's not normally like this. I guess my poor baby's tummy must really hurt, huh? Anyway, I'll text you. We need to have a long chat about everything that's been going on in our lives for the past few years. So sorry I couldn't stay and talk for longer.
Oh, okay then. I guess I'll get going.
Is that girl we just bumped into a friend of yours?
Yeah, we've been friends for so long, I can't even remember when we first met. Maybe it was back in high school? That must mean we've been friends for over 10 years now. But she met this guy while she was still in college, while doing some kind of volunteering activities, and she just kind of disappeared off the face of the earth. She never even introduced him to me or any of our other mutual friends. She was always posting coupley photos of the two of them on her social media, though. To be fair, I haven't seen her post about him in a while, so maybe they broke up. She wasn't looking too great just now, so that would explain it. I really wish she would just tell me these things so I could be there for her.
Oh, really? Well, I'm just so glad that I had the sense to pick someone like you as my girlfriend. You're the sweetest, prettiest girl around.
Well, of course I am. But what do you mean by that? Do you have something against Sabrina?
Well, actually, a friend of mine was involved with your friend there, and recently there was a little bit of an incident between them. I normally wouldn't go around spilling the tea about my friend's business, but because this involves your friend too, I guess it's okay for me to say it. The thing is...
Will you stop beating around the bush and just spit it out already? You know that I really hate being left in suspense.
Well, I heard that her parents showed up to their first meeting with my friend's parents in a really beaten-up old car that must be more than 25 years old. The kind of car that you can't believe that people can still get to work. I can probably run faster than that thing can drive. They really didn't take my friend's family's feelings into consideration and really embarrassed them by showing up to a fancy restaurant in such a run-down old thing. I heard that they ended up breaking things off after that debacle, even though they were considering getting married and everything. I think you're a real saint for not judging her for her poor background and being friends with her regardless, you know?
Are you really talking about Sabrina right now? The girl we just ran into.
Well, I don't remember if her name was Sabrina or Selena, but it was definitely something like that. And my friend showed me her picture, so I'm pretty sure it was her. But anyway, her family ended up making real idiots of themselves at that dinner, apparently. I'm sure people would have ended up labeling her as a gold digger if they ended up going through with the marriage, so breaking up was probably the best thing for both of them. I felt really sorry for my friend, though. You know, he didn't realize how poor her parents were and was really taken aback when he saw them in that car.
That's the reason they broke up? No wonder she didn't want to reach out and talk to us about it. I swear, if I were to get my hands on that guy, I would give him a piece of my mind. He obviously didn't know everything about her background. I can guarantee you that he's going to regret it as soon as he finds out the truth. He's going to wish he could run away to the ends of the earth in embarrassment, let me tell you. I am so glad that poor Sabrina was able to get out of that relationship. Time to throw the whole man away. into the next galaxy, if preferable.
Wait, I don't understand what you're saying here. Why should she be relieved that she got out of the relationship and not the other way around? What do you mean when you said he's gonna regret it when she finds out the truth about her background?
I really don't get why you're reacting like this. It's a little weird how invested you are. It's almost as if this happened to a family member instead of a friend. But yeah, I don't understand why you'd feel bad for the guy when it's obviously Sabrina who dodged a bullet.
I mean, I'm pretty good friends with this guy, so I was just curious about what you meant. Like I said, I felt really sorry for him after hearing what happened, so I got kind of curious when you implied that there's another side to the story.
I'll forgive you for your poor choice in friends because you're still a naive little baby who has a lot to learn about the world, but I can assure you there is no reason to feel sorry for your friend. He's clearly nothing but scum. He's going to be in for a surprise when he finds out what Sabrina's parents do. Her dad is the chairman of the biggest electronics company in the whole country, and her mom is the director. But both Sabrina and her dad really don't like to go around showing off their wealth. They're also always worrying about people just wanting to be around them because of their money and status, so the reason that Sabrina didn't say anything to your friend about her background all this time is probably because she wanted to be sure that he loved her for who she was and not what her family has first. She was probably planning on telling him the truth once the engagement was finalized, but obviously now he's shown her that he actually didn't really love her that much, and he wouldn't be willing to take her for better or for worse. I know exactly what their family are like. We've been friends for years. This is such a typical behavior for them, but I guess it helped her to see her scummy boyfriend's true colors. I'm surprised that her cover wasn't blown earlier, though. She's so elegant and obviously well-bred that even if she tries to hide it, it's clear to anybody with sense that she grew up in a rich family. The same can be said for her dad, despite his frugality and the unassuming persona he tries to put on. It's obvious that he's someone who's used to commanding authority. You know, their net worth is so much that there probably isn't anything in this world that they couldn't buy.
Oh, seriously? That electronics company? Oh my gosh, I'm losing my mind here.
Hey, you startled me. There's no need to start yelling. What on earth has gotten into you?
I just really don't understand why they would hide something like that. How could she have hidden it from her boyfriend for the entire relationship? If you're that rich, you should go around bragging about it, surely. Money is everything in this world. But there wasn't a single thing about her that portrayed that she was rich to me. Her clothes and jewelry weren't designer brands, and she didn't even seem to be wearing expensive makeup either. Are you sure we're talking about the same person? Could you not be mistaken?
How could I be mistaken when I already told you that I've known her for half my life? My parents and her parents are really good friends, you know. We used to all go out for family dinners together sometimes. And do you know how good her dad is to his employees? He never makes them feel like his inferiors, is always taking care to make sure that they have the best working conditions possible. That's why working at his company is everyone's dream job. All his employees say that you'll never find a kinder, more understanding boss than him. So you see, if he went around bragging about his wealth, he would just alienate his employees and put up a wall between him and them, which would achieve the opposite effect to what he wants for his company.
Oh, I can't believe this.
Though I do think that maybe driving himself in that old car to meet his daughter's boyfriend's parents was unnecessary when he has his own private chauffeur. He actually doesn't often drive himself anywhere, you know, so I do find that one a bit strange. Even if he did want to look inconspicuous, he could have just had the chauffeur park around the corner or something instead of right by the restaurant. If he had wanted to buy a new car just to drive himself to that dinner, he could have easily afforded it, but I guess that was just the lengths he wanted to go to in order to not appear intimidatingly rich in front of his potential future in-laws. Either way, that friend of yours sounds like a sad, pathetic little man. How could he be so quick to judge a book by its cover? He and his family jumped to so many conclusions there based on nothing but an old car. That's absolutely wild in my opinion. I really hope you're not that close to this guy because he does not sound like the sort of person I'd want my boyfriend to hang out with. I really hope that you're not as judgmental and materialistic as he is, because if you are, we're going to have a big problem on our hands.
Oh, yeah, I said we were close before, but the truth is, we're not actually that close at all. And you know me, I would never be so shallow as to make a snap judgment about a person like that. Oh, by the way, I just remembered that my mom asked me to pick up some medicine from the pharmacy for her because she's not feeling too well today. Oh, she's gonna be really mad that I forgot about it, so I should probably go and grab it and hurry home now. I'm sorry to leave in such a hurry. I'll text you as soon as I get home, okay? Make sure you get home safe. See you soon. I'll buy you dinner on our next date, okay? I love you, honey bunny.
What on earth is going on here? Why are you in such a hurry? Hey!
I can't believe that Ollie let such a great catch get away. We're all so stupid. Wait, isn't that the company that Ollie had the final stage interview for? Oh my gosh, there's no way he's gonna get that job now, is there? I can't believe this is happening. It can't be true. It just can't be true. It has to be that company. Everyone knows that there's no other electronics giant that even comes close to them. Why was I so cocky at that dinner with Sabrina's family? Why did I have to go and be so rude to them? There's no coming back from this, is there? Mom! Mom!
Are they ever going to get here? I feel like we've been waiting forever. Each minute feels like an hour.
You really have to go and ruin everything for me, don't you, Mom? I was all set for the final interview, and now I've been rejected before I even had a chance because of you and your big mouth. Apparently, people who make it as far as the final interview normally have a 90% chance of success. I've been waiting my whole life for an opportunity like this, and now you've gone and taken it away from me.
Why are you only blaming me? I'm not the only person at fault here. Your dad and your brother also had plenty of things to say about Sabrina's family and their car. And if you would just grow a backbone and argue against us instead of just going along with everything that I say, maybe things would have turned out differently. And anyway, how were we supposed to know who they were when they never gave us any reason to think that they were rich? But then how come you didn't know about this when you've been dating her for years? How could this not have come up even once? How could she not have displayed some kind of telltale signs or let something slip?
We never really talked about money and family background, I guess. These days, people don't start relationships by grilling people about where they grew up and what their parents do for a living, you know? And after a while, I decided I didn't really care what her background was because I liked her for who she was. And then you poisoned my brain into thinking otherwise, and now look where we are.
Well, I still think it's highly abnormal that you didn't know such an important piece of information about your girlfriend. Anyway, there's nothing we can do now except beg for forgiveness. Was I really awful at that dinner? Do you think they'll be able to forgive me for all those things I said? I really was too quick to judge by appearances. I've clearly completely lost my mind.
Excuse me, but what do you think you're doing here?
Sabrina, please, let's just talk for 3 minutes.
Talk about what exactly? I don't think I have anything left to say to you.
Please, Sabrina, could you just give the poor boy a few minutes of your time? It won't take long, I promise. You were dating for such a long time. Surely you owe him the chance to explain himself and apologize to you.
I don't know what you want to say to me today, but whatever it is, it's too little, too late. I am not going to accept any apologies or give any second chances, but I will listen to what you have to say. Go ahead then.
I can't believe I'm here crying on the street in front of you. I should just cut off my stupid tongue as penance for all the terrible things I said to you and your parents that day at dinner. I couldn't stop thinking about how awful I felt, and I just wanted to come and apologize to you all.
I've been doing a lot of thinking too, Sabrina, and I've realized that you really are the only girl for me. I really miss those years that we spent together, not worrying about anything, as long as we had each other. I want to go back to the days when we were all loved up and nothing else mattered. Look at how much weight I've lost just in this short period of time since we last saw each other. I haven't been able to eat or sleep properly because I've been pining for you over the past 2 months. I just miss you so much, Sabrina. I should have stood up for you that day and said that I'm willing to stay by your side no matter what, because that is truly how I feel about you. I've been crying myself to sleep every night thinking about how much I regretted letting you go. We had such a good thing going on, didn't we?
Oh goodness, look what the cat dragged in.
I don't know what you're trying to say to my daughter, but you already made your bed the day you insulted us at that dinner, so you'd better go ahead and lie in it. I'm sure you're only showing up now because you figured out who we are. Am I right?
Tony, we were so wrong to treat you in such a way. When I think about what I said to you that day, I feel so ashamed that I just want to die. I know that you probably think we're a pathetic joke showing up like this now, but we really have just come to admit that we were at fault and ask for you to forgive us. You said it yourself, didn't you? That we should put our differences behind us and get along for the sake of our kids because they love each other so much. I reflected on those words a lot over the past 2 months, and I realized that you were so right. Nothing else matters as long as our kids can be happy with each other. So, what do you say to the kids getting back together? We can even start planning the wedding.
I'm simply astounded at how shameless you can be. Didn't I ask you if you could take responsibility for everything you said that night? I distinctly remember that I did. And now you're here saying you want to take everything back? Well, it's too late now. Have the kids get married? How delusional are you? There is absolutely zero chance of that happening now.
Honey, calm down. We're right in front of the company and some of the employees might be watching us. Diane, Tony, I'm very aware that I'm not good enough for your daughter. I'm lucky that someone as amazing as her would even consider marrying a guy like me, and I take full responsibility for the nasty side of my family that you saw at that dinner last night. I guess I got so greedy that I lost sight of what was really important, which is my love for Sabrina, and now I might have gone and lost her forever. I was obsessed with the toxic idea that men should always strive for greatness, and that's why my family and I ended up acting so awfully towards you that night. I've thought about it long and hard, and now I know that I can't live without Sabrina by my side. I love her with all my heart, I mean it. So please give me another chance, and give me permission to marry your daughter.
Shut up! Just shut your mouth! You can't just throw around such meaningful words like that when I know you don't mean any of it. If you really cared about me, you would spare a thought for my feelings.
Sabrina,
Sabrina, you must have been hurting all this time as well. I'm so sorry. I must have really upset you with my words. It's all my fault. I put the idea to break things off with you in Ollie's head, so please don't be mad at him and put all the blame on me instead, okay? I raised him to always listen to what I have to say, and he was swayed because I was so insistent on my stance. You know how he is. He's such an impressionable boy. If you want someone to hate and resent, let that person be me, not Ollie. No matter how angry you all may be, you shouldn't let this get in the way of Ollie getting his dream job. He was on the verge of getting admitted into the company and then got a rejection letter out of the blue. There's no way it could have been based on his ability, so I know it's because you were all angry at him and didn't want him in your company, which I understand, but working here is his dream. Surely you can't take that away from him because of a personal grudge? Can't you spare a thought for how hard he's been working all these years and not take this golden opportunity away from him?
The reason that your son didn't get admitted into our company isn't because of my personal feelings towards him. He simply wasn't the right fit for the job, and there's nothing more to it than that. You may think the world of him, but he's still lacking in many respects, and has a long way to go if he wants to secure a position in a company like this. My company's principal value is looking at who people are fundamentally on the inside and seeing if they can genuinely bring something productive to the team. We don't judge people for personal or superficial reasons, unlike some people. There is no place for conceitedness in the healthy work environment I want to create for my company. You're not going to gain anything from standing out here crying and begging because Sabrina isn't going to forgive you, and I'm not going to reconsider my decision to hire you, Ollie. Now, we have work to do, so if you would excuse us.
Please just give my son one more chance. I am begging you. The whole thing was my fault.
Please let go of my trouser leg. People are starting to stare at us. I'll call the police on you if you don't let go of me this instant.
Please forgive my son, please. He's done nothing wrong here. Please stop this. Nobody is going to believe this ridiculous show that you're putting on for us here. Do you think I'm stupid, Celia? Do you think I'm gullible, Ollie? Do you think I haven't said anything so far because I don't know why you're here today? I really don't want to go through any more stress and heartache because of your family. I've been trying not to get emotional and lose my temper, but I really can't stand here listening to you anymore. I can't believe that you would come all the way out here and make a huge fuss in the street in front of all my dad's employees. Celia, how did you know that this was my dad's company? Theo told you, didn't he? I don't know what you're talking about, Sabrina. I just came here to apologize from the bottom of my heart. This is not something that can be solved with a simple apology, you know. I don't think you realize the gravity of what you said and did that night. If you did, you would never have said such things in the first place. It's all very well you insulting me, but I will never, ever forgive you for insulting my parents like that.
Are you saying that Ollie's younger brother had something to do with this?
Yes, I ran into Amelia in front of the department store yesterday, and she was there on a date with Theo, Ollie's younger brother. Apparently, they're in a relationship. When he saw me, he pretended not to know me and tried to insist that she didn't stop and talk to me. I was just gonna let it go. But that night, I got a message from Amelia saying that she had told him all about my family background after hearing that a friend of his had broken up with me because of how poor I seemed. I'm pretty sure the only way that Celia and Ollie could have found out that this was my dad's company is if Theo came and told them everything that he found out from Amelia. She said that he turned as white as a sheet after hearing the truth about my family, and he suddenly ran home saying his mom was sick or something like that. The worst thing is that he changed his story halfway from being about a close friend to a friend that he doesn't really hang out with that much in order to look better in front of her. Your family are all incredibly shameless. You know that?
Sabrina, please, this is all just a big misunderstanding.
That's right. I didn't hear anything from Theo. He has nothing to do with this.
Well, I'm not buying it. The timing is far too convenient for him not to have been involved. I don't believe for a second that you've spent the last 2 months in a state of constant self-reflection. It's obvious that he ran home immediately to tell Mommy all about what he'd heard, and that's the real driving force behind your reflection and apologies. You don't feel bad about what you said to us that night at all. You're just upset that you missed out on a chance to leech off my family's money. I wouldn't go near you again with a 10-foot pole, so you can stop dreaming about me forgiving you and reconsidering getting married.
Are you really going to throw away all of our years of memories together just because of one mistake my family and I made? I know you're not that kind of girl who could just coldly cut someone they loved off like that.
That's right. Surely you can't be so heartless. What can we do to make you forgive us? We'll do anything it takes if you'll just consider taking Ollie back. If you do get married, I promise I'll never say a harsh word to you and let you have your own way on absolutely anything.
Well, even if you went to the moon and back for Sabrina, we still wouldn't be willing to forgive you. I, for one, would never accept a family like yours as my in-laws. It's obvious that even if we did forgive you for this and Sabrina was willing to go ahead with the wedding, I'm sure you would just end up doing something else to upset her further along the line.
My priority is protecting my daughter above everything else, and there's no way I'd let her put herself in a situation where she's obviously going to get hurt. The only thing that would get me to respect you after all this is if you went and bought our company off us with all that money that you were bragging about having and make us work as your underlings. I might also be satisfied with the idea of you getting reborn as cockroaches or something else nasty in your next lives. We did warn you not to regret your decisions, didn't we? We kept trying to explain that there had been some kind of misunderstanding, but you guys are the ones who wouldn't listen to us no matter what. This ship has sailed, so don't try and cling on, okay? Because if you do, you're just gonna end up drowning. As you said that day, it's best for you to go and find a family who are on the same level as you financially to get involved with. The disparity between our two families' wealth is clearly too great. I can't believe that this is how it ends for us.
I was so close to getting trapped in a marriage that I clearly would have been unhappy in, so I'm so glad to have dodged that bullet. I'm thankful to Ollie and his family for showing me their true colors before it was too late. Because I cut ties with Ollie and his family when I did, I was able to move on with my life and heal my emotional scars so that I could find the happiness again with someone who really loves me for who I am. The incident with Ollie's family caused me to develop some serious trust issues, and I was scared of falling for someone else for quite some time after that. I would find it really hard to open up to people, and I would end up retreating back into myself and seeing that I was better off alone. However, I was eventually able to get back on my own 2 feet and slowly open my heart to the nicest, sweetest, most understanding man I've ever met, and he's shown me nothing but love and support throughout our relationship so far. I know that I finally found the one, and this time we're definitely going to get married and live our happily ever after. Ollie and his family did try and keep contacting me after the incident outside my dance company, but I just tried to ignore them. Every time they went too far, I threatened to report them to the police, but it never seemed to deter them. They would say things like, "We're gonna make sure you go bankrupt," or "We'll make sure you end up living on the streets." But they eventually gave up because we wouldn't give them any kind of reaction. Everything was about money for them in the end. The obsession just completely consumed them. But what they don't know is that I wasn't ignoring them because I was scared of their threats. I was ignoring them because I was just plain disgusted by them. You don't avoid stepping in poop because you're scared of it, do you? No, you avoid stepping in poop because you don't want to get your shoes dirty. I'm not going to let what that family said get me down anymore, and I've been able to make this nightmare into a character-building experience. Even though it didn't end well, I still did love Ollie at one point, and we had lots of good memories together. I'll still cherish that time, but accept that it's gone forever and there's no turning back. It's time to move forward with my new life now. Thank you so much for listening to my story. Don't forget to like and subscribe.